Thanks, Ray, and thanks all the panelists for joining us in Macau to talk about how to build a sustainable ecosystem. So the value chain of consumption industry is very long and even across the globe. So the background of our panelists is quite diversified. First, I would like to introduce all the panelists to introduce yourself, your organizations, and its contributions to sustainability. First, let's welcome Miranda.
Good afternoon, everybody. I come from Procter&Gamble, who is already 186 years. And we have many brands that maybe you are quite familiar, like Tide, Head & Shoulders, Olay, SK2, what you can call it. And then China, in fact, we established our headquarters, Procter&Gamble China, in 1988, and we operate 8 plants and 6 distribution centers in China. And we also set up we call Digital Innovation Center, as well as the Great Bay Technology Center, so which we want to drive the innovation. And we are quite committed to the sustainability. As you know, in China, maybe the sustainability topic is just hot these years, but in fact, P&G started this kind of work 70 years ago. So in 1956, we published the first report called Environment Safety. So from that time, we are driving all the effort towards sustainability. And it's great to meet all the friends and also here, so to learn from each other, so we can drive together for the sustainability.
Thanks, Miranda. Let's welcome Wendy.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. Me again. And yeah, I'm just as Miranda mentioned, I'm very glad to get together with all of you here, our industry partners, our innovators here to talk about the sustainability topic. As I mentioned in my presentation just now, Budweiser APAC and our parental company, AB InBev, is world-leading brew company. And just as our company purpose saying that we dream big to create a future with small cheers. So I'm convinced that the future must be a sustainable future, right? Because we cannot live sustainability without sustainability. So sustainability is not just part of our business, it is our business itself. We fully embed it into our company strategy and daily operation. And as we are listed in Hong Kong, so we have to disclose our ESG report every year. So our sustainability goals are highly aligned with the UN SDGs. And as I mentioned just now, that our sustainability goals about environmental mainly covers 4 pillars, talking about water stewardship. Compared with the year 2017, so far we have reduced 27% of water usage in our whole value chain. And talking about circular packaging, so far we have achieved 63% of the returnable material using in our packaging. And for like agriculture, we are helping our main stakeholders, our direct farmers, for the proper approach for planting. And last year, we benefited more than 4,000 farmers and covering about 60,000 hectares of land. And for climate action, actually, we more focus on the carbon reduction. So far, we have achieved more than nearly half of the carbon emission reduction in the year 2022. So we are well on track for our 2025 target. So next step, actually, we raised a more aggressive target for us. That is to achieve net zero carbon emission in our whole value chain, which includes Scope 1, Scope 2, and Scope 3 in Budweiser across our whole value chain. Yeah, this is our current achievement and our next step. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy, and let's welcome Alvin.
Hi, I speak for Chinachem Group from Hong Kong. We are a group of a number of companies, mainly including number one, of course, property development and management, and number two, hospitality services and healthcare services. We have hotels and elders home and so forth. Number three, investment, of course, Hong Kong people. So including new ventures and so forth. So that's what we do. I think, first of all, myself, I actually professed in the universities for many years, some 16 years, before I joined this company a year and a half ago. I used to, I was the founder of the Institute for Social Innovation in Hong Kong, the first one in Asia. The reason for me to join this company is precisely some of these very old Hong Kong enterprises, they're changing. So I'm very much involved in the corporate transformation and innovation work. For around 3 years now, the company operates with what we call a triple bottom line approach. In our own words, planet, people, and prosperity. To give you two, well, of course, I think everyone has been doing many things for sustainability. To give you two simple cases from our side. Number one, first of all, the construction industry is the most polluted industry in Hong Kong, still ranking number one, okay? So our target is based on 2020 as a baseline. We'll reduce 51.8% by 2030, our carbon footprint. So that's, we were the most aggressive within our own sector in Hong Kong, amongst like big scale developer. And number two, in reality, for instance, Hong Kong is very expensive, right? And 2 years ago, we started a project called Central Market in Hong Kong, in the CBD. And instead of having all the same luxury French and Italian brands, but you know which ones are, we actually use that as a platform to support social enterprises, cultural enterprises, green enterprises, and so forth. So I think that's a big commitment for us to do that in the middle of the city, the most expensive locations in Hong Kong. I use those two to start with.
Let's welcome Ashley.
Yeah, hello everyone. It's been an honor to actually speaking here. So introducing ecolodao. So we're actually focusing on recycling plastics and also promotes the global sustainable practice globally. So our company's goal is actually eliminating the plastics waste, especially by repurposing and recycling the plastics. And we work closely with the partners throughout the supply chains. For example, from the manufacturing to the waste collection facility, we provided technology to actually ensure the plastic waste can be recycled and redesigned to new products. By doing so, you can actually we are able to decrease the carbon emission by decreasing the need for the new plastic productions and also the waste treatment consumption. In addition to our technology innovation, we also provide a tangible rewarding systems for stakeholders that if they are willing to and also take actions to reduce their carbon emissions as well as plastic waste, so that they can be awarded with incentives. So by utilizing, for example, like carbon credits and plastic credits, all the stakeholders that they can take active roles in the fight against the plastic pollutions. So I think with our works we're making significant contribution to the sustainability by recycling the plastics in the environment, and also we're incentivize stakeholders to take positive behavior change, which also has earned us a name within the industry as a leading role to actually promote all those, I would say, the positive cycles into the business sectors in terms of manufacturing. So, and also we committed to continuing to innovate and also work with stakeholders worldwide to make our future a better place. So, yeah.
Thanks, Ashley, and I'm so glad we have all of you here to talk about today's topic, how to build a sustainable consumption industry innovation ecosystem. So just like Alvin just mentioned, sustainability is quite complicated, and we are here doing a lot of stuff to contribute to sustainability in our own organization. And I believe that responsible consumption and production calls for the collaborations of upstream and downstream in the industry. So firstly, I would like to ask, what's the biggest challenge for you to build a sustainable industry ecosystem, and how does your organization utilize innovations to meet that challenge? For that, welcome Miranda.
Just now, I quite agree Professor Liu said. I think the leading company and the leading brands should play their role. So we know the ecosystem is quite complicated, but we should start within. So that's what Procter&Gamble is trying to do. So first, we start with some things we can control. For example, in our plant, we have all this kind of innovation technology we call IoT. So if you go to the plant, you will find the light is off. So it's in a darkness production, so which helps the carbon emission a lot. And then even that when we do the e-commerce, sending the package to everybody, and we have the innovation so that 15 minutes we can produce like 1.6 billion combination. So we know when you place an order, what is the right routes so that all the transportation distance can be cut by half. So these are kind of like innovation we're driving within. But after that, and then we try to extend our scope upstream and downstream. For example, for upstream, we say now we are doing some innovations for the plants. So how about your suppliers, the materials, and also the solution? So then we start to get the standard and also the requirement to our supplies. And then we get the qualified suppliers into our ecosystem. And also we start to do the downstream. For example, just now I shared for the orders that sent to every consumers. And although we have all the suppliers, even the parcel delivery, so they should cooperate with us. And talking about the whole ecosystem, what I should say, because I come from information technology, so one biggest challenge is the common standard and also the end-to-end data. So for example, we do have some no carbon products, but how can we convey the message to the consumers? So what we have done in the past year, so we cooperate with some like GDSN. So with the mass data, we first we clean all the things in our own system, so we know which products have the ingredients of the products. And then we'll work with the GDSN and also like downstream, like customers like Yonghui Alibaba, so that we convene the green products tax through the end-to-end ecosystem. And then, for example, Alibaba, they can, when they list our brands, our products on the e-com website, and then that they have a tag called "This is green" from P&G. So with this kind of effort, we are driving the ecosystem end-to-end. Another good example, this is like a vertical end-to-end, but what I want to say is also horizontal. So here we have all the partners together. For example, we have a patent called airbag, so which is something that when you get an e-com parcel, it's more like a carbon box, but now it's really plastic. It's an airbag, it's within air in it, which cut the 50% of the weight. So it's also reduced the carbon emission through the life cycle. But we have the patent and IP, but we open this freely to the industry. So anybody interested in this technology, you can apply the patent to produce that kind of parcel, so that with this kind of effort and intention, we want to drive more utilization of the technology and innovation that we invented with our within. So with that, we hope in China saying deeps force the ocean. So we want to try together so that end-to-end and ecosystem can be built within our effort first.
Thank you, Miranda. Let's hear from Wendy, please.
I share the same feeling. Actually, it's really a big challenge, and it's not easy for the transformation and to build up the ecosystem for sustainability. For us, Budweiser APAC, we already are a listed company, and we released our ESG report, and now we are well on track for our 2025 sustainability goals. While for our suppliers, we have various of suppliers. They are very diverse. Some of them are very small company, and maybe they don't really have the mindset of building up the ESG strategy, or even don't know that. They don't know the proper approach to move towards their targets. So, just as mentioned that we have a more ambitious target, that is to achieve net zero carbon emission in 2040 in our whole value chain. We have already achieved scope 1 plus scope 2. We reduced half of the carbon emission. But as you know, scope 3, which comes from our supplier, the carbon emission weighs about more than 90% of the carbon emission. So it's our responsibility to help our suppliers to achieve their carbon emission targets. So first of all, we pay visit to their factories, their breweries, their plants, and then we will build up the carbon baseline for them. Even we'll set up the carbon neutral and net zero roadmap for them. On the other hand, we coach their people and their talents. We provide them with the training of ESG, sustainability, carbon emission courses, and because we think people is the most important heritage in one organization to make things happen, right? So in long run, we also made the carbon emission and sustainability goals for our suppliers to secure they are on the same page with us. In the meanwhile, we also established a called supplier alliance, because in our opinion, suppliers are not just competitors. In some extent, they can be friends. They can share the best practice or even share the failure experience to each other, to better solve the problems of the sustainabilities, because they share some common things in their daily production. And from these approaches, we help the whole value chain to build up their sustainability mindset. And the secondly is that we know that it is not easy to just do these things with our own organization. So partnership is really important. The external support is really important. So through the collaboration with our Impact Hub, and we established a local 100+ innovation lab. In the beginning of each year, we open for the public to announce our challenges of the sustainability in our whole value chain, and we recruit for the solutions from the high technology companies and even marketing companies who can provide us with the solutions. And it's not just a competition. We'll give the opportunity of piloting to these companies, and some of them may finally sign contract with us and be part of our business. So so I can say that partnership is really important to help us deliver the whole ecosystem of sustainability. Yeah.
Thanks, Wendy. And I can hear like Miranda's sharing and your sharing both mentioned about partnership, about collaboration. So maybe the collaboration of our ecosystem needs more partnership and collaboration, and help us to link the dots in our value chain. So let's welcome Alvin to share your insights on this question.
I don't have any insight. I have headaches. But first of all, of course, it's admirable to hear what the artist has done. As I said, well, we have a spectrum of businesses. I would like to pick up onto our core business, real estate, 房地产. It's a bit difficult. That's my headache. Now, if you look at, for example, the procurement process, the materials, the supply chain for construction, making buildings, that's all right, pretty much in our control. We could pick, of course, recycled bricks, we could use energy-saving systems and so forth. For example, we invested a lot into new construction technology like MIC, modular integrated construction. So you make buildings a little bit like, it's not as simple as that, but more like Legos. So, for example, the residential building we are building now in Hong Kong, let's say one project we have now is 46 stories tall. It's the tallest ever built by MIC technology. That reduced 50% on-site pollution, including noise, and more than 70% of construction waste. So we could control and we could invest into it. Now my headache is the market. Slightly different from beer or skincare products and so forth. At the moment, our sector is very backwards in terms of, you can say, the consumer psychology is still quite different. Of course, we talk about, let's say, residential housing. Very large sum transaction, lifelong investment for a lot of people, right? So we have done several experiments. For instance, we have a huge housing estate done in Hong Kong, east of Kowloon, and we actually built it as an intergenerational friendly housing, meaning that we invest extra money for the aging population. Wider corridors, all the equipments in the toilet and so forth, right? But the customers do not want to pay a single penny more for this, right? It's only square footage. And that's Hong Kong market. China is probably slightly better than Hong Kong, but Hong Kong is the extreme because people don't see that as consumption only, but investment. So that's very difficult for us. Another example, we are building the greenest data center, 48,000 square meters, quite a big data center in Hong Kong. And no operators wants to pay a single penny more. All they want is, all right, give me cheaper rent, I'll deal with the sustainability. Say if P&G comes in and negotiate with us for the rental. Of course, you need data, right? All right, I need data center, give me a floor, right? But don't tell me any shit about this is a green building or anything. Huh? Just give me the cheapest rent. I have my E3 to deal with it. So if your question, as you said, was talking about ecosystem building, that's kind of the headache I have. I have more of it, but let's stop here.
Thanks, Alvin. We think we have the same headache. Ashley, please.
Yeah, so definitely agree with what Alvin just said. I can speak in the eyes of the plastic industry because that's how we getting ourselves into the industry. Because I feel like the sustainability, why the ecosystem is hard to build is because within the plastic industry there are many stakeholders. For example, raw material producers, brand owners, and manufacturers, and even for the government. So all those stakeholders, they have their own interests and also incentives. So that's which makes the barrier to actually collaboration or innovation, because people always cares about their benefits and also what they can contribute to the society or to the market. So as you said, like, I believe like within this ecosystem, we're all business and we're all for-profit organizations. So the main point is that we care about margins and all the stuff. So what ecolodao actually provided within this ecosystem is that we find not only like we provide not only the social value to the stakeholder, but also the economic value to the stakeholder. For example, like recycling plastic waste, there's a lot of I would say it's been a hot topic, but it's also being dragged by the price, by the crude oil, the availability of the crude oil. But on the other side, if the recycling plastics creating additional income for the companies and also promotes them to actually take the positive behavior change, then it could make the whole system like a positive cycles, motivate everyone within this within the supply chain. So I would say, so when we're talking about how like what's the challenge and you know like how we can build a good ecosystem, we need to find what's the real needs within the supply chain and how we can provide it, like how we can benefit everyone. Because I always believe sustainability isn't something that we call for every day, but we create the situation that win-win for the whole supply chain. It's also for our earth too. So that's how we like dig into this industry, like a plastic industry, and find out what we feel like. Yeah.
Thanks, Ashley. And in our previous discussion, we all mentioned about the consumer, right? We are talking about the consumption industry. So the consumer, I think they are the most important stakeholders in our ecosystem. And I believe that sustainable consumption and lifestyle is becoming an important trend in China, both in mainland and in Hong Kong, and driven by China's carbon peaking and the carbon neutrality goals. So now let's talk about what you think is the key to arouse public's awareness and their attention to sustainable consumption and turn into real actions in their daily life. And please share your best practice with us. So Miranda, please.
Yeah, when we talking about this topic, people are always talking about consumer education, okay, for sustainability. But I think this is the wrong word. Because if consumer see the value, they definitely will run to that. So I totally agree with Ashley. Sometimes we say sustainability, we give a question of either or. You either have the sustainability or either you pay more money. But in fact, I think that's where the technology and innovation should play. We should have a formula of and. So I think that's where we should really break the chain of this kind of thing. Definitely, I think it's not a consumer education. It's more like consumer awareness, so that the consumer knows. For example, our skincare. I still think skincare. They know your skincare functional benefits, but they also know your skincare environment benefits at the same time, and they should not sacrifice the functional benefit versus the environment benefit. So I think that's what, for us, we want to drive it forward. But I do believe that we need to do more of both. Because for brands, we're always talking about this skincare can make you a beauty, right? All these kind of things. But at the same time, we do have many elements of accessibility, but we are not communicating enough. For example, we have a safeguard body wash or hand wash. And we now have really for children, we have the refuel like body hand wash, and it's also very fun because it's not the water, it's just like some cubics, and then the children can put some water and then they shake and shake, then it becomes a magic hand wash for the children. So it's a lot of fun, and also the cost is affordable for the children. So I think with that, people know, and the parents know, hey, this can help my children get it clean, right? This is the functional benefits, but also they get, oh, this is good because the transportation, now the weight is quite light. We reduce the carbon emission for the transportation and also the water, right? And then it's a lot of fun. And also, hey, children, kids, this also helps to the environment that our generation will continue to live on the earth. I think with that kind of end formula, we should do more. Of course, the government should do more. And also, I think at this kind of event, the association could do more. Even the live streamer, right? If they can create some interesting topics about accessibility, like 淄博烧烤, right? It becomes a hot topic for everybody and gets where the accessibility come from. And then the brands, they could do more, just like I shared, in their brand communication of both the functional benefits and also environment benefits. I think we can do together. And then we say the consumer is educated, is not educated, so they are with us to drive forward for a better life and also better earth for us.
Thanks, Miranda. I totally agree with some key opinions from your side. As well from Wendy.
Actually, to Generation Z, to young generation, we are not talking about education any longer. Instead, we are talking about engaging, right? How to engage our consumer and how to involve our consumer to be part of our sustainability player. That's what we are thinking about. I think there are two key factors for engaging our consumer. First, as consumer goods, we need to fully leverage our brand power. And secondly, is still partnership about crossover. Yeah, talking about brand power, I can have an example for you. Like we have our global famous brand Corona. When talking about Corona, I think top of mind the word is chill. Yeah, because Corona is an ocean lifestyle brand. Yeah, so they host a music festival by beach each year. They host many music festivals, and so there are many young generations who come to our music festival. So at this time, this is the best way and best occasion to engage our consumers. We produce some well-designed plastic-made trash bin near the sea, and call for the action from our consumers and the young generations, and they can see the trash bin looks like very well designed, and they're even willing to take a photo and post on their moment. So this is one of the innovative approach to engage the consumer to be part of the player. And secondly, the community, the local community is also one of our key stakeholders, except for our, besides our consumers. It's still about Corona. Last year, we know that in southeast part of China, like in Fujian province, there are a group of fishermen. When they are retired, they have very limited income and they don't know what to do. This is what we are doing is that we, through partnership with the local government and the ocean protection organization named the Blue Ribbon, we help the local fishermen. We recruit them to be Corona's brand ambassador. What they are doing is that they will collect the ocean plastic waste, and we, Budweiser, APAC, and Corona brand will buy this plastic with the price of the seafood. So on one hand, this helps to increase the income and the livelihood of the southeast part fishermen. And on the other hand, they are the good ambassador to our brand and they help to protect the environment. So in the year 2022, through the collaboration with the community, the government and our consumers, we finally collected about 155 tons of plastic waste, which is exactly what we used in Corona production procedure. So this is so-called carbon plastic neutrality. And secondly, I think the partnership and crossover is also very important. In the last year, I want to say another example. It is about Vegatex. I know Karen must be very familiar with that case. It is a startup named Vegatex participate in our 100 Plus Innovation Lab, and they provide technology for food upcycle. And through several rounds of piloting and testing, they produce our spent grain to the world's first barley-based waterborne garment leather. And they are finally shown in 2022 Shanghai Fashion Week. And in this way, I think we appeals to many young generations. We draw their attention. And on the other hand, we fully leverage our global resource. We recommend this successful pilot to our global level. And now it has been recommended to 2023 New York Fashion Week. So in this way, I think it appeals to more and more young generations all around the world. So I think partnership and crossover can help you to think out of box and provide with us more surprises. Yeah, so that's my opinion. Thank you.
Thanks, Wendy. And totally agree that consumer education is no longer a sexy way to engage our consumer, and we need to make sustainability more interesting and make it like a lifestyle and to be more chill with can be shared with more young generation. So let's hear from Alvin. What's your ideas about this?
2 minutes left, so gotta be very quick. Partnership engagement, totally agree. I think education doesn't mean teaching. We're not teaching our customer, but education is still needed. The knowledge that people are interested in sustainability, that's extremely important. Now, what I really like to raise before we end is still, I think in some of the sectors, and for some of the segments, I think government intervention, regulation, incentives is still important. Construction industry, and you can imagine, for example, aviation industry, without the government making a push, it's almost impossible. It's not only the market itself, it's about regulating the market or steering the market somehow. Now, like in the last 3 years, everyone has been talking about the boom of electric vehicles, right? Without the government push of it, in the past few years in many of the governments, it's basically impossible. It wouldn't happen. The technology innovation were there for many years. Our previous university, we invented the first electric cars 20 years ago in Hong Kong. But the market wouldn't invest into it until the government put up a tax exemption for electric cars, then the market boomed. So I think that's also important.
Okay, I will take very quick, 20 seconds. So I guess my understanding on the sustainability and how like people can get themselves involved in the sustainability is we need to actually make the sustainability more understandable and accessible and appealing to the public. And I think as all of you guys said about different aspects, and I think the most workable way would be the combination of the education and the engagement and also incentives, because I feel like different parts on this side contributed to the understanding of the sustainability. For example, education is really tell the customers like what is sustainability about and how they can make the choices in terms of the sustainability in their lifestyles. And also on the other side, the engagement is also how they adopt it themselves, or how they can see sustainability is relevant and appealing parts in their lifestyle. They have to understand, okay, what is a, let's see, a sustainable like a cosmetic products is being made, so that they can understand how bad right now, like maybe right now the industry is having for making the pollutions and all the stuff. So the engagement is very necessary to trigger the interest in the sustainability. So on the third part, I think the incentivize mechanism is also something that may be appealing to the customers in terms of choosing the lifestyle, because it could be financially, it could be non-financially. Financially, you can, you can get discount if you buy, you swap something from the store, and if you buy some sustainable products, that you can get discount. And also for non-financially, you can even get a reward as like a medal or something like virtually. So I think a different aspect of contributing to the customer's understanding in terms of sustainability, and that's how we should to build sort of like the architectures step by step. We have to let them understand firstly what is sustainability is, and trigger their interest through the engagement, and also on the third part, maybe the incentivize for the business and for the customers too. So yeah, that's my.
Thanks all the panelists, but we do not have we don't have more time, so we have to stop here. And I'm not quite sure if the audience they have a better understanding of such a complicated topic. But I think that from all the panelists, we can figure out that to build a more sustainable ecosystem, we need collaboration, we need partnership from different sectors, like the government, like the big players like Budweiser, like P&G, and also we need a collaboration from startups, even the media and the public engagement. So I still would like to spend more time with you to find if we can find a better solution or better therapy to heal our headache. But we have to stop here, and we would like to discuss with you more maybe later. So thank all the panelists and join us here in Macau, and look forward to more partnership and synergy between us and between the audience, all of you here. Thanks for talking with us. Thank you.